chasing a feeling.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feels Out Loud, brought to you by Becoming Together Therapy and Wellness. This is your host, Becky McNattin, along with Tara Martini. We are so glad to have you listening as we live and share stories of mental health today. Good morning, Tara.
Good morning. I am so excited for today's episode, which I feel like we say every single episode.
Well, we're always excited. That's you and me, we show up that way.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, and you'd think that we get to pick the topics or something, you know, so.
Yeah, well said.
Right. So this topic is near and dear to my heart because we are going to talk about the transition back to school. Mm-hmm. And there's always a time of transition for families. But what we're going to focus on today is just as far as things are starting to get settled into the school year, but it's still a time of transition, right?
Yes.
So not everyone is like completely like, all right, we're good to go. Mm-hmm. And so it's looking at ways that we can really make this transition even smoother. Mm-hmm. But before that, I want to look at some statistics because I think it's so important for everybody to know just how big of a topic this is and why we're addressing it on the show today. So mm-hmm. In case you were wondering, there's about 26 million kiddos enrolled in grades 6 through 12 in the United States.
26 million.
Yeah. And among those kiddos, around 6.6 million are estimated to face some kind of mental health condition.
Wow.
This school year.
That's huge.
That is staggering. Almost a quarter.
Almost a quarter of total school-age children.
Yeah.
Just
now,
in grades 6 through 12.
Yes.
So there are younger kiddos than that, too.
Yep. And I think, too, to your point about younger kiddos, particularly my work with the younger kiddos is as a teacher and professional, I'll notice things. But a lot of times with little kiddos, the parents aren't noticing them because they just think like, well, that's just my 4-year-old mm-hmm. or that's just my 6-year-old.
Yes.
Where a lot of those things you're just not diagnosed at the time.
Makes total sense.
And a lot of people will say it's too early to assess. But the point is that 6.6 million kids are struggling in some capacity. So a kiddo has that. Well, the impact of mental health on school performance is so profound, but it's also very well documented. So for listeners out there who are not well versed in really the efforts that states and school districts put into it, the beauty of it is that states and districts conduct their own student surveys, and it's open to the public. So when the
we
results,
can all see this data.
It is. And so that's something because people love data, and people will often say, well, tell me about this. Tell me about these student surveys. They cover a plethora of things, and ever since I've been teaching, this has been a thing. And so you're looking at mental health and wellness. You're looking at risky behavior. You're looking at academic performance. You're looking at the home environment. You're looking at all the things. And then they're given in grades 5, 8, 9, and 11. Okay. So those developmental markers. Now, a lot of kids will say, or parents will go, well, it's voluntary. How many kids are actually going to take it? And how truthful are they really going to be? Well, we found that at least it's around 65% of kids actually take it and report, which I think is huge.
Yeah, that's a solid.
The fact that you don't have to. And I don't have a statistic as far as truth telling, but it's that idea of many times when kids have an opportunity in black and white to simply in a bubble answer something, this is their first time they get to be vulnerable and actually share and have a voice.
Yes. And part of what you're talking about is what they're sharing, what they might be vulnerable about, is this mental health impact potentially of transitions.
And it's the first time they might be doing it.
Fascinating topic. We're going to take a short commercial break, but stay tuned as we dig deeper into transitions to school and the impact it has on the entire family and mental wellness. Thank you for listening to Feels Out Loud. We will be back in just a moment.
You gotta find the people. Express yourself.
Welcome back, everyone, to Feels Out Loud, brought to you by Becoming Together Therapy and Wellness. I am Becky McNattin, along with Tara Martini. I want to dive right back into our discussion on heading back to school.
Yes, girl. So to kind of conclude my thoughts about the student surveys, I love that the public can see them. If you're wondering, like, oh, I'm a parent or I'm a curious taxpayer, you just go to the school district's website. And there is a spot, usually it comes from the counseling department, and you can click on it and it will say student survey results.
Okay.
It typically will say 2023 is the last result, so it won't say 24 to 25. And it will provide a plethora of data for you to go through. And it is quite remarkable just to get a glimpse, if you are not someone who is on the ground dealing with the kiddos every day, just to get a glimpse into what it's like to be a child in schools.
And if you have a child, if you're a listener who has a child,
Yes.
you might know then, get some insight into what your child might be exposed to, whether or not they endorsed the same things that are on the student surveys. It's a discussion point for a question around transitions and the things that are noted in the survey. But this is what they're immersed in every day.
Every day. And what an amazing conversation starter to say, hey, I saw the results, come out, to kind of get that conversation going about what are your thoughts on these things.
Yes.
I always will bring up certain things as far as results, to my kiddo. Like, hey, they're saying this % of kids are participating in whatever risky behavior it is. Like, what are you seeing in the schools?
Yeah.
Because it does open it, and it's not accusatory or anything like that. It's just, what are you observing? What are you seeing? Because their lived experience could be very different than the data.
Sure could.
So it's just, an important thing. So you take that and all of those experiences. When you think of, for all students, the fall, and for our kiddos, we're both parents, the fall brings increased worry, not just for kiddos, but for parents too.
Yes.
But there's worry from the student's perspective about social interactions, academic pressures, adjusting to a new schedule, maybe a new school, new routines, a new team or a new club, but so many new things.
Yep.
Now, think about being one of the 6.6 million kids struggling with some type of mental health issue. Those typical school worries then just tend to exacerbate their symptoms.
Yeah. Oh, I could totally see that.
And then think about the burden they carry every day to school, which just breaks my heart thinking about.
Yes, well said. Well, it makes me think back to some of my own transitions back to school. And for those of you who are listening who are adults, maybe you're doing the same thing. And transition isn't necessarily only the first day. That's what you and I are highlighting here.
Yep.
Transitions can take longer than a moment. And we don't necessarily feel a sense of settledness about routine, sometimes for a while.
Oh, for months.
And I remember thinking about, I have no idea who has my lunch. I don't know who I'm going to sit by. I don't know who is in my class.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy my teacher. And the coping strategies that we develop that aren't necessarily helpful for mental health around, I remember eating lunch in the bathroom.
Oh, yes.
And I would guess that there are many people listening who are like, I did that same thing. That can contribute actually to some mental health circumstances for those 6.6 million kiddos. But it's a way to navigate some of that transition anxiety.
They absolutely can. And I think of, my stomach literally hurts right now because it brings me back to like every student that I've interacted with in that every hot topic open for debate, whether it's technology in the schools, allowing backpacks, whatever it is, a topic that's come up, there's always another side to the conversation. And a lot of it is around mental health, right? Okay, we don't want phones. They're distractions. But what about the kid who has no friends and their phone is the only distraction at lunchtime? It allows them to just go into their little world and have that escape.
Yes.
So for every single debate we have, there is a mental health component that argues the other side of it.
There absolutely is. And you as a previous teacher have that recognition of the specific stories, because you have students to tie this to, that I have also worked with people who can't look like they don't have anyone to speak to. So fantastic coping strategies to have a phone that you can pull out, because it would be way worse, or look way worse. They feel like it would be way worse to have nobody to talk to.
Right. And then that's where they end up in the bathroom if they don't have their phone, because I'm not going to sit in the same environment as everyone and have them see me.
Yes.
Because that's reminding me I'm lonely. If I go into the bathroom, there's not a visual reminder that I am, because nobody can see me at that point.
Yeah.
I just get to be safe. So to turn it on a little more positive of a note, because we just know that, yes, there's so much stress. Being back in school, kids are 6 times more likely to seek mental health support during the school year. Now people can go, well, why? Well, because it's accessible. Right. During the summer, I was just on Twin Cities Amplified radio show talking about issues around summer and things like that, you know, and also transitions kind of the opposite way. And on a positive note, school provides that amazing opportunity to say, I am struggling. I only have to walk down the stairs and down the hallway. And I have a mental health provider right there. Sometimes I don't even have to do that. I could be sitting in my classroom and I look up and I see this beloved teacher in front of me.
Sure.
And that's a trusted adult. Take them out of the school environment, they don't have that person. So the beautiful thing about school, and we talk a lot about the negatives, but the beautiful thing is they're more likely to do it. The other thing...
That's great.
It is. I mean, it's massive. The other positive is that school, now that it's back in session, we're getting kind of, you know, fall underway. Students from marginalized backgrounds who disproportionately depend on school for essential resources like the mental health care, food, and medical have access to these resources because school's in session.
Yes.
So I do want to take the time to note that school is not an awful place. It is not just a stressful place, that it also provides resources that kids don't get otherwise if we're not in school.
Well, and you and I have talked on the show about transitions. We've talked about change. We've talked about how our lives need change.
Yes.
So the fact that we feel anxious or the fact that we feel stress actually isn't even the point to say we need to avoid that or figure out how to not feel it. Because some transitions are really wonderful.
They are.
Being in a new grade is great. It comes with a new set of worries about expectations. It comes with unknowing, which we've talked on the show about having challenges with as human beings.
Yes.
But the fact that the anxiety is present or that the mental health issues are present isn't by itself bad.
Right.
And it's a recognition of just what is. We're naming that transitions occur,
It does.
that they take time, they take a response and dedicated space to explore. And I love that you can highlight that school's actually a really beautiful thing.
Well, it is. And it's also the idea that, for example, it also shows us where we have come from. For example, my daughter is now a sophomore. She's into her sophomore year, which is hard to grasp.
Yeah.
But we think back to freshman year. Well, she can look at sophomore year and go, yes, it's been a transition, right? New teachers, new classes, but she knows the school now.
Yeah.
Last year, holy buckets, thinking about, I'm in a new school. I'm meeting new people. So it allows kiddos to reflect on how far they've come, and we'll talk about that later as far as coping skills. But just knowing transition is not always bad, like you said, and it can be beautiful. So we've looked at how it can be stressful for kids. We've looked at some positives. I also want to focus, because the emphasis of this episode is also the impact on the whole family. And so much of it, the focus, rightfully so, should be on children, but it also should be on the parents. I found some staggering statistics and just kind of blew my mind, because our minds have to be blown at some point of every episode.
Yes.
It's just
love it.
Determined. Back to school preparation. And like you said, it doesn't just mean, Becky, in August, right? Back to school preparation is also September, October, November. It's in between sports seasons, right?
Sure.
The preparation of whatever it is ranked by parents as the highest stress preparation time of the year.
Wow.
More stressful than holidays, birthdays, standardized testing time with their kiddos, and even sports.
Wow. Well, I think about, I'm laughing, and actually my kids would say, Mom, don't laugh. But I think about my kids' first days of school in middle school. And I have one who is in middle school now. And the first day of school, remember years ago, I think I was more anxious than my child.
Oh, yes.
Because I was so much thinking about all of those things.
Right.
That partly because I've been in middle school and I was thinking through, this is what you don't even know, child. And so to all of the parents who might be sitting with, gosh, yeah, it is the highest stress preparation time of the year, or it's more stressful than holidays, birthdays. I would surmise from some of that because as parents, we have a semblance of control in response to things like birthdays or holidays.
For sure.
There is a relinquishing of several things and this expectation of maybe we don't even know named expectations and trying to respond to those. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, yeah, that's me, I totally hear you.
It is. And it is so important to kind of focus on that, as well as thinking of, to your point you made a minute ago about you're so highly empathetic towards your child around that, because I don't know many humans who sit back and go, middle school, hashtag best time of my whole life.
Right.
No.
You lived there.
Yeah.
You taught there.
You lived there. I lived there and taught there for 20 years.
Yes.
But I chose to live there and teach there because that is the stereotype of, it's not the best years. But then to send your kid into that realm of that, you are so empathetic because it's like, So understand that. Also, which every parent or guardian can relate to. During the school year, I just didn't know the number, and I think this is just like, holy cannoli. During the school year, the average parent or guardian says their family spends 17 hours a week managing and discussing family schedules.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, we even at work, like you and I will have like a conversation in passing and just be like, and we have this and this and this and this tonight. And I'm like, it is 4:00 in the afternoon and you're doing those three things this evening. That counts. Like you're discussing it.
Yep.
Our schedules, and it's not like both of us have schedules where every day is the same, right? Well, yeah, at 4:00, I always have the same three things with my kids in the evening.
Yep.
Well, that would make life so much easier. But no.
But it doesn't happen that way. No.
Every day's different.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on 17 hours per week? Do you think you and your husband do that? And your family?
I guess I've not really added it up.
Right.
So
does it feel like it? That you spend a lot of time thinking about the schedule?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so the data, although it's kind of a little mind-blowing, it feels like almost validating. So I'm sitting with this.
Good.
Oh, wow. That is the lived experience of families. And so often it's making me recall to, so often in the fall, those things pick up differently.
For sure.
And those things change. So even what we're filling with those 17 hours, that moves. And in terms of what schedule is, so often as parents, I'm sure people are sitting out there listening going, yeah, it's like remembering what your kids have due different days. Oh, you have a project in 3 days.
Yep.
Well, we got to work on that today.
Correct.
Because okay, it's due tomorrow.
I was just going to say, girl, that is amazing if you are aware that a project is due in 3 days. Because usually it's like, hey, Mom, I have to do this. It's due tomorrow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, when did your teacher assign it? Oh, like 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first day of school.
Yeah. And it's November.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's awesome. But in part of what we're talking about in terms of transition, it is that mental shift on even what was filling.
Yes.
Transition to summer, it can also be quite stressful, and the movement about what we're thinking around shifts from the school year. But it is the mentality of all of a sudden thinking of the structure to help model for our kids what are the expectations in the classroom, what is due, in addition to the activities they might be in or extra things outside of the school day.
Right. Which leads me to, okay, so we've established for the entire family, fall can be stressful. Well, let's look at some norms. And many of you might be listening and going, well, Tara, school already started. That's okay. Because the beautiful thing is that no matter when you hear this podcast or episode, there's always time for reflection.
Yes.
Right?
And as we said, transition is more than the moment that something is occurring.
Yes.
And a couple months ago, we did a show on transitions, and really with this idea that it takes time to integrate something.
It does.
So sometimes we get ourselves thinking that a transition is just that one small space of a thing occurring. When actually transition requires a grace and patience with self, that it could be a long time.
It does.
Some people don't, especially kids, may not feel that anxiety. They might not notice that anxiety or mood impact for a couple weeks.
Oh, for sure.
On the mental health realm, so often we didn't hear about trouble with transition until like October. Because when kids had started school in the state of Minnesota in September, because they're sort of riding that anxiety mood.
And everyone's living it together.
And not noticing what the physical impact might be until several weeks in.
Yes. And that is so important to acknowledge. It's that piece of a lot of times the mental health side of it you don't see coming up, which you might see in therapy offices and things. We all of a sudden get an influx, right, of certain times of year of new patients that are school age. We're not getting them September 1st, right? Because those needs aren't rising to the surface yet. So let's look at some fall norms that I think are so important that's going to set families up for success during any fall month of the year. First, kind of like you touched on, Becky, about transitions with summer, sit down as a family and acknowledge the differences between summer and the school year. Because, you know, the summer, everything's more relaxed. Everyone's kind of doing their thing. Maybe mom and dad or whoever you live with are working less. You're going to the cabin. That's different than the more rigid school year where everybody has more of a natural schedule. And then let's reflect on everyone's roles, because everyone plays a part. It is not just parents are the schedulers, kids are receiving those, kids are the students, and then parents are the disciplinarians. That is not. It's how are we all working together, and let's reflect on what's gone well so far in September, October, November, and what's not. Because so often we don't do that part. We don't ever pause and reflect. We just live as is. Well, school's stressful. School year's stressful. We're really busy. That's just what you do. And you keep going. But that is not how it should be. Pause and reflect as a family, because then it also shows that everyone feels respected and everyone feels like they have a voice at the table.
Makes so much sense.
So work together as a family to create solutions, and the kids, no matter what age, they could be in kindergarten, they need a voice at the table. Children are so insightful. Listen to what they have to say. Acknowledge, if you acknowledge the challenges of the fall and the wide range of emotions that come with it. And again, you're going to see things like nervousness and excitement at the first week of school. validate all those feelings. You may see heavier emotions show up mid-school year. Validate those feelings too. And look for those feelings as well. Okay? Part of that also is you're going to have an easier time discovering those emotions and observing them with your child if you have certain things set in place, because then you're not wrapped up in the other things. Discuss what expectations are for the whole family. Come up with, and I know parents might be mad at me for just saying 1 to 2, but come up with 1 to 2 tasks that are the daily expectations during the school year.
Give me an example.
Thank you for asking.
Oh,
So,
you're welcome.
in my opinion, kids should have 2 tasks each day to do. One is a personal thing,
Okay.
like make your bed. So it just has to do with the kid's space
Okay.
or the kid as far as self-care. And then one is a family contribution. Feed the dog, take the garbage out, empty the dishwasher, because that's like the whole family unit.
Got it. So when you say expectations, you're talking about like at home, not necessarily at school.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Because it's that piece of everybody has theirs. So mom or dad or relatives, they work from home, they work at a business, they're an employee. Kids have we are students. When they come together, we are mom, dad, sister, brother, aunt, grandma, but we have to help the household function. In order to do that, we each need a task or
Makes
tasks.
so much sense to me.
And it doesn't matter. Like, here's the thing. A kindergarten kiddo could have a task like my dog's food bin is on the floor. So a 5-year-old could open the lid, take the scoop, and put it in the bowl. I mean, there's developmentally appropriate tasks to do. Am I going to have my kindergartner walk the dog around the block? No. Right?
Yes.
So it's, again, daily expectations, 2 tasks. One personal, that's make their bed, clean the bathroom counter, whatever it is. And then one family contribution. Think households. They're a part of the team.
Okay.
Along with expectations is create a routine in which the foundation is there while respecting the fact that each day may look drastically different. But there is always going to be, and that's where this is hard to do in like September because you haven't seen any patterns come up yet.
Or you're just starting to.
Yeah. And exactly. So in October, November-ish, sit down with your partner or as a solo parent, sit down and reflect, look at the calendar, reflect on your own and think, are there patterns that I'm seeing come up that are constants? Wow, I'm noticing we always have Monday evenings open. Well, then on Monday evenings, we plop family dinner into it.
I totally hear that.
Right? A lot of times what families will do is think, and I kind of used to possess this mentality too because I'm very much like a schedule person where it was like, if we do not start this September 5th, which is the first day of school, there is no use in bringing this and starting this tradition in November. It can be, you can start it whenever.
Yes.
And you're setting yourself up for failure if you think, well, it must start in September, go every single week until June, and then we will switch and we'll create a new routine for summer. But if you acknowledge the pattern, figure that out, then you can create something that works for your family. Now, if we want to go like technically, family routines have been linked to the development of social skills, academic success, and adherence to family routines has been identified as important for family resilience during times of crisis.
Yeah.
Now, we know that as therapists.
Yes.
You might be sitting listening right now to the show and going, you're telling me if we have like a routine that we're going to be able to like get through a crisis better. That is a contributing factor.
Yes.
Right? Because you are working together, you are spending time together, you are connecting. And that leads me to be intentional about the time you will spend together. Now, I was talking to Andy on another radio show, and he was like, Tara, when this was recorded, so I can say this, he's like, Tara, you're asking me, our schedule is so crazy. Our 20 minutes together might be sitting in a car eating fast food.
Yep.
Love that for you. Mm-hmm. When I say 20 minutes, it doesn't have to be around a dining room table. Mm-hmm. You meet your family where they're at, but be intentional about the time that you have together.
Yep.
Traditionally, yes, daily meal, Sunday church, all those things. But realistically, I always say any 20 minutes, 30 minutes, amazing, right? Yep. No matter how busy anyone's schedule is, I always say, no matter what, parent, you have 20 minutes before bedtime each night.
And the minutes could be on your way to school.
100%.
If you're a parent who drops child off,
yep.
This definitely could be your drive in. That
yep.
It was often,
yep.
with my youngest, that was our intentional time.
Yep.
And we would have a morning dance party those days.
Yep.
And so it sometimes takes some creativity. I totally hear you.
It does.
Finding those minutes first, but when those minutes happen, saying, how am I going to intentionally consider them?
Yes, and to be present, right?
Yep.
For a lot of parents I'm working with, I will say, like you had said, people, their schedules are crazy. So I will say, you know what? On the drive home from school every day, no phone, and that's your time you talk to your parent, right? As far as a student perspective. It's just little times like that, anytime you can have connection. Now, before we switch gears to the ways parents can support kiddos, I want to read a little poem from a kid's perspective, because I think this presents such a beautifully sad image of what it is like to be a student who is struggling with mental health from the kid's perspective.
Okay.
This is called Withholding by Duke Forrester. I learned to hold my breath in me till my blue face blended in with the sea. Classroom of students in rows, front to back, 30 blank faces, one masks a panic attack. I learned to keep my breath bottled in like my SOS in the empty ocean. When my dad said I had not to mope, I told no other souls. Privately, I'd cope. I learned to keep my breath still as the water is stagnating my boat well. 12 hours in bed on a Saturday, keep the depression in the mattress I lay. I learned to make my breath freeze like the iceberg's 9/10 no eye sees. A confused marker read my failing grade. She had not read my symptoms, I'm afraid.
Wow. Well said.
Right?
Also, it is profound and likely resonates with kids who experience that feeling, the emotionality, and then being in school and having to show up with a different presentation.
Yep. And so common, and I'm going to get to that in a minute about ways parents can support their kiddos. One, it ties into the common piece of 12 hours in bed on a Saturday.
Yeah.
How many teens have that issue of not wanting to get into bed?
Yes.
And a lot of them, they're hiding a mental health struggle. That piece of the teacher grading this child's piece, but she doesn't know my symptoms. If she only knew how different it would be. And that leads me to ways parents can support kiddos. Number one, it is that idea of please communicate to your child's school counselor, social worker, or even at minimum just their teachers, no matter the age, kindergarten to senior year. If the teachers don't know your child's story, then we can't help. And I know that it would be lovely if every teacher just knew innately, oh, Tommy looks a little sad today. But we don't. I wish we could, but kids wear these beautiful thick masks sometimes, and we've talked about that on the show, that we have no idea. So let us in. Also, for parents, to love a child is to meet them where they are.
Well said.
So important. And I wish every parent could hear that. And that is the idea of your kid is struggling, your kid is angry, your kid is nervous. Don't just say, you're going to be okay. Because they're not okay right now.
Mm-hmm.
So sit with them in that and validate those emotions. My biggest advice to parents, kids will match your energy. So please, parents, check yourself before bed and in the morning before school. You make sure.
Good point.
Oh, it's just my biggest thing. If you go to bed stressed and you're like, okay, everybody just get to bed. Get to bed. Everybody, love you. Blah, blah, blah. Brush your teeth. You didn't brush your teeth. Okay.
Oh, I'm laughing because it's a call out to me.
Well, call out to all of us, let's be honest.
Yeah.
If you just take, and that's where I love the 20-minute before bed being your point of connection.
Yeah.
Because then it allows you to just be at peace, but also in the morning. Now, you're like, well, mornings are just crazy. Well, there's also things you can do, right? Pack your kids' lunch the night before. That makes it a little less hectic. Have the kids lay out their clothes. You lay out your clothes. It makes it a little less hectic. Mm-hmm. Lay out your work bag with your keys on top of it. All these things, if you can give your kids a cool, positive energy in the morning, you're going to feel it and start your day off better, and the kids are going to feel it and start their day off stronger.
Makes sense.
When they're struggling emotionally, that piece of meeting them where they're at, remind them that emotions are temporary. Nothing is permanent. The bad stuff will go.
Yes.
And provide examples of times that they have overcome so they believe it.
Yeah.
That they themselves can overcome it. Also, listen and observe. Look for changes in your kiddo's behavior, but also look for the absence of things.
Yes. And that can happen post the first day of school. This is part of why transitions can take some time because you may need time to listen and observe.
Yep. One of my favorite things ever is to leave a little reminder of yourself on your child. Well, what does that mean? Take a marker, and this even works for high school kids. Do a black marker. It'll seem more cool. And on their hand or on their arm or on the inside of their wrist, do a heart. Do a smiley face for littles to remind them, like, you're there if they have anxiety. For older kiddos, maybe write an ampersand, like the and sign. Means your story's not done. There's more chapters to your story if you're struggling. Or a semicolon, right?
Yes.
Your story's not done. I have faith in you, and you have the strength to get through it.
Yep. And even the feel of this moment.
Yeah.
Your day will continue.
It will.
From that very moment.
Yep. Or maybe there's a family saying that you guys always say that you want to put on there. And that way the kid always has something right there to remind them, hey, it's going to be okay.
Love that idea.
Okay. I can't believe we're almost out of time. This is crazy. So what I want to end with, and we'll kind of keep going into with the question part, is just how can we support parents? Because parents are also going through so much. I don't know about you, but I was blown away, not in a good way. I have things that I will share with parents to help support them during the school year, but I wanted to provide more examples and resources. When I went online to find things, I was appalled at the lack of online resources for parents. There was little to nothing on how to support parents during the school year. Even when looking that up, using professional journals and things like that, what popped up was, and I even wrote it down, ways for parents to support kids. It was astonishing.
Yeah.
And so it's, okay, let's look at how do we support parents? Well, first of all, acknowledging that the school year is hard, but that doesn't mean it needs to be hard. So let's continue.
And so much of what you talk about in order to troubleshoot or support parents, you mentioned this with kids, it's noticing that the thing exists to begin with.
Yes.
We can't troubleshoot something we don't name to begin with.
We can't.
So much to think about here. We're going to head to a commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to answer your questions about mental health during the school year. We'll process your feels in just a moment. Thanks. We are back again with Feels Out Loud, and this part of the show is where we talk through questions from you all, our listeners. If you have a question related to mental wellness, sharing feelings, or our topics for each week that you would like us to process through, please visit our website at becomingtogethermn.com and find the Feels Out Loud page to submit a question directly, or certainly you can email us at contact@becomingtogethermn.com. We definitely want to hear from you all and what you're wondering about. And giant thank you to the listeners today who have sent in questions about just the transition to the school year. Tara, we had so many questions that you ended the last segment around, but would love for you to weigh in about parents who are looking for ways to support one another or to support their own process in the school year. So clearly what you said in terms of what you found online and the lack of resources is something lots of folks are wondering about.
It is. And it's a sad reality. Because I think it's one of those where parents just accept as is, right? Well, I'm sitting in this. I'm just going to have to sit in it for the 9 months.
Yeah.
But then also they're validated, unfortunately, then when they go online to seek out help. Well, I guess I really do because there's nothing to help me online.
Yes.
Right? So the one thing is that, guess what? You don't need online. Sometimes the most beautiful thing is the peers around you who are going through the exact same thing. When we're in our workplace and we're stressed, the best person to go to is someone who's experiencing the same thing, a fellow therapist, right? So why not, if you're a stressed parent, the greatest piece you can go to is, or thing you can go to is a stressed fellow parent, right? And so turn to your neighbor, your friend, or whatever, and use that person as a sounding board, as someone you can just complain to, as a silent support, and you just walk.
Yes.
Or you sit in silence. But just pulling strength from one another is huge. Also, don't just accept the norm or the status quo. Work toward balance. So many people, and I think our country is built on this, is just you overschedule everything. Now, I am not saying to pull your kid out of every sport or club or organization and just do nothing, because I know that's not realistic. So realistically, my tip is subtract one thing, just one thing. I know kiddos who go to 2 to 3 things after school every day.
Wow.
They get home at like 9 o'clock every night. Take away one thing. It's not only going to benefit your child's well-being, but it's going to benefit your well-being. Okay? A child, yes. And I know I hear parents who say, but my kid needs to stay busy because they have tons of energy and they need to get that out. I get that. But no matter how energetic your kid is, your kid also needs downtime. Their mind needs to rest. Their body needs to rest. Just last week, we talked to someone who said the mind-body connection, in that we all need rest. Parents should have at least 8 hours of sleep every night. How are you going to do that if you're overworked and overscheduled?
Right. Well, and often parents are, whatever your children are doing, you're doing too. So parents also need rest in terms of ways they can support themselves and one another, is working toward that balance of you also aren't getting home until 9 o'clock at night because you may be the driver for those things.
And realistically, here's another tip as far as the subtract one. Your kid's at hockey practice and you're staying there because they need you. Step outside and do a quick little, use a meditation app or Calm app and do something. You know, it's using the time that you have and allowing a little self-care.
It makes so much sense to me, because I find myself wanting to say to parents in transition, be gentle with yourselves. Be gentle with yourself. So much of the way you can support you is recognition of, as you said, name that it is, name that it is stressful, and then be kind to you and send kind messages about the fact that it's hard.
It is hard.
And we're at the end of our show already for today. Thank you for listening this morning, everyone. Join us next week as we talk through boundaries and the importance of these in maintaining mental health. In the week ahead, be kind to yourself. Remember that connection fosters wellness, and your voice is one that the world around you needs to hear. Share yourselves, friends.
Some go, some will, some won't. I wanna feel just